We're going to start with a 2-minute opening statement, and we'll start with Dr. Lisa Thomas.
Good evening, and thank you for having us here tonight. I appreciate the public being here, as well as this being live streamed, as well as archived. And I see lots of other people that are interested, that are also taking videos, and that's wonderful. We want as much public input as possible. I am Dr. Lisa Thomas. I am your current state representative in District 123. I'm in my 4th year of office, 2nd term, and I'm very, very proud to represent this area. I'm a Christian constitutional conservative. I am a Republican, and again, this is the 4th year I've been in office. I have a proven conservative voting record vetted by the ACU and the CPAC organizations, the gold standard, really, of conservative voting. I'm very proud of that. I've been endorsed by the NRA and the Fraternal Order of Police. I was just recently appointed to the Special Interim Committee on Illegal Immigrant Crimes, where I'm fighting for this county as well as the state. Obviously, a very important issue that has come up. I've had a personal invitation to visit the border this fall, and I intend to do that with fellow legislators to see the problems myself and be able to report back to the public. We are looking for solutions to this issue, working very closely with law enforcement, and it's an honor to be on that committee. I am Vice Chair of Health and Mental Health Policy. I'm one of only 2 physicians in the State House, and that is important because we need people, out of the 163 representatives, we need people who actually understand science and medicine. I am one of the few that, as I said, thank you, timing, that folks come to in order to help vet their bills, to explain or to understand some of the issues, because it can get really complicated, and health and mental health issues constitute a huge portion of our state budget. So people need to understand those issues so that they can vote on them. You can always refile a good bill, a good bill, but when you get bills that are not appropriate, we want to make sure we stop them. So a lot of things happen behind the scenes, and I'm happy to be part of that process, making sure good legislation moves forward. Thank you very much.
Jeff Bernetti, 2-minute opening statement.
Yeah, first off, thanks to KRMS. This has been great. There hasn't been many opportunities for the candidates to get out in front of the public. This is wonderful, especially with the video component of it. Also want to thank the great groups in front of us. Those men and women did a remarkable job. I thought it was really enlightening, too, in this position to sort of hear the district's needs. And that's certainly one of the major reasons why I put my name forward in this campaign. Again, my name is Jeff Bernetti. My wife Kelly is over there. Been together 23 years, have a couple of kids, both adult now, 21 and 18. My son Dominic's at Mizzou. Daughter Isabella's getting ready to go to William Woods, so we're excited about that. We moved here 7+ years ago after many years traveling here and having family in the area to focus on some business interests. Along with several partners, we built Ballparks National, which is entering our 5th season of operation. Outside of obviously some of the water businesses, it's been one of the largest drivers of tourism in the area, and we're super excited about that, especially with the amount of employees and the amount of people that we can interject and get excited about being and living in this community. Just this last year, we opened Bernetti's Italian Grocer on the Camden Square, which has been a good, joining of the community. I should have brought some food here. We've been here a while, so I think a lot of hungry stomachs here. I've really focused a lot of my time, especially with my kids getting older, on a number of volunteer boards, both civic and business-based. We're very active at Calvary Chapel Church, which has been a phenomenal thing from our family. So just really rolled up our sleeves and gotten involved in the community, and I want to thank all the supporters here. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of people that are here supporting our efforts to provide a new voice here in the district, and I'm excited about it.
We'll start with Dr. Lisa Thomas. Many have labeled the legislative process in Jeff City as broken or dysfunctional. What can you do as a state representative to improve that process, or at least not contribute to that dysfunction?
Well, again, I'm one of 163 legislators, and by the way, I'm very proud to have 2 of my fellow legislators here that come from across the state. A couple others were unable to make it tonight, but intended to be here, and I certainly appreciate those efforts. There's very little that an individual can do except, obviously, argue for and put forth ideas for changing the rules. We do get vote for those, and you do get to have input. But again, any individual vote doesn't hold sway. Again, 163 people, so that's important to realize. However, we do need to fight to have single subject bills. I think Johnny on the street corner needs to understand the language and what that bill says. They don't have to agree with you, but they have to know what a yes means and what a no means. So if they were voting on it, what they would do, and when we vote, they have to understand what we mean, rather than the humongous omnibus bills that we all rail against, and then immediately somehow that seems to be all we end up getting. So that is a problem. There will be some changes this coming year, and I'm looking forward to a legislative session with some fewer constraints this year. Thank you.
Jeff Vernetti, many have labeled the legislative process in Jefferson City as broken or dysfunctional. What could you do as a state representative to improve the process, or at least not contribute to that dysfunction?
Yeah, it's definitely not contribute to it. Again, I've spoken to many legislators that certainly have enlightened me on the process, and at least is right in this regard that, you know, certainly someone coming in as a freshman, it's not like you're gonna put 4 or 5 bills up that they're gonna pass immediately. I think my biggest duty and the duty of this representative is to truly listen to their district, be accessible. I'm very active on social media. I'm very easy to reach. My cell phone is, I gave it out at the debate. Happy to give it out now to whoever wants it. I think just having that accessibility is important, but it comes down to, yes, there are 163 individual votes, but we see how an individual vote hurts a district, like unfortunately we saw with the education bill. Again, I realize a lot of the bills pile up and that they get massive. Understanding though and making promises to people in your district is the thing that I will most fight for, I will most stick with, and that's really why I believe that I'm getting the support I'm getting, because people are looking for that out of a representative.
Many at Lake of the Ozarks feel that we're underrepresented in Jeff City. When you consider the economic impact combined with all the part-time residents and visitors, how will you ensure that the lake gets its fair share of resources and attention from the state government? We'll start with you, Mr. Vernetti.
Yeah, I mean, that's really one of the biggest reasons why I'm running, is when you look at the 2 big engines that this district and Camden County produces and pushes towards the state. It's agriculture and tourism, you know, our 2 biggest industries. Fighting for those folks, as I've been out knocking doors, I've had 12+ events, you know, meeting people in Climax Springs, all over the district, not just business owners, not just homeschool families, just all over. They do feel overwhelmingly just either underappreciated or not listened to. I think that my ability to pull together some of the businesses that we've done, unite people. I don't come from any money of any circumstance. You know, we fought for everything that our family has both made now and look to continue making in this community. I think I bring that fighter spirit to the position that it will desperately need. But really on the local level, there's so many things, especially the men and women that spoke earlier, fighting for our piece of the transportation budget, fighting for our infrastructure needs that are going to be drastic here in the next several years, and things of that nature are very important.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Thomas, many at the lake feel underrepresented in Jeff City. When you consider its economic impact combined with all the part-time residents and visitors, how will you ensure that the lake gets its fair share of resources and attention from the state government?
That's an excellent question, and from day one, I've acknowledged and fought for both the economic drivers of tourism and agriculture. They're the same 2 drivers for our entire state, and it's right here in this district, absolutely intertwined with having water issues as well as a number of different businesses. We are a major contributor, and not just local or to the state or to the nation. We are internationally known. So one of the things I certainly intend to do is make sure that we have a safe community so that we can continue to have businesses and individuals want to come here. I am a fighter. I will stand up against anyone. I will call out problems, waste, fraud, and abuse when I see it, and make sure that we do have a voice in Jefferson City. As somebody who now has a couple of years of experience, again, I'm already a vice chair. I anticipate becoming a chair of health and mental health policy, an issue that I sit on one of the committees here every first Friday. We have a special committee with first responders through Lake Regional Hospital. Again, the issues with immigrant crime, and there's many, many more things. I intend to continue representing this district, and I am a fighter, and people know me. I'm transparent, I'm all over the county, and my number's out there as well. Thank you.
Question number 3, and we'll start out with Dr. Thomas again. How do you plan to streamline or reduce regulations to encourage business development and make Missouri more attractive to entrepreneurs and investors?
Well, there's a number of things we can do, and honestly, it's important that the things that we do as legislators, please don't let anyone ever tell you that your job is to make laws. In my opinion, we first and foremost need to look to absolutely roll back regulations or modernize regulations. Possibly, I've had several bills that are very, very simple, literally the change of one word. They are mainly constituent driven, again, because I'm out and talking with people, getting feedback from my district, very well aligned with my district. And something as simple as a youth motorcycle bill that was out of date, that the gentleman who was involved in that arena said, you know, current manufacturing standards are 300cc engine displacement. The statute says 250cc displacement. We literally changed one number in the statute and made it become current, and it actually has a more safe environment for motorcycles because the current manufacturing is slightly bigger, slightly heavier, more safe. So again, things we can do for business, that's going to be helpful. It allows things to move forward, rolling back regulations, and allowing business owners to do business as they do best.
Mr. Vanetti, how do you plan to streamline or reduce regulations to encourage business development and make Missouri more attractive to entrepreneurs and investors?
Well, as someone that's built some businesses from the ground up, literally from a piece of paper to now a $15+ million project, I would certainly do my very best and fight with other legislators who their districts are affected with the over legislation and the over regulation of banks. The banking laws, it has made it so difficult for any normal developer or any business owner. Go out and get an SBA loan right now and tell me how long it takes. Go out and get any kind of loan for your small business or large business. It takes forever. That would be certainly one. Again, I appreciate fighting for your constituents. That's a good point. I don't know what motorcycles have to do with the business community, but again, listening to the interests of your district are paramount. And this is one that's a growing district. I mean, we are growing at leaps and bounds, and we need someone to help guide, along with our local leaders, the great county commissioners, all of our city administrators, and help fight for the right and correct road.
Thank you. We'll stay with you, Mr. Bernetti. Are there any bills you intend to file or co-sponsor next session? What will be your legislative priorities?
Yeah, there's no bills that I have right now. I'm not going into this with, I've got 3 bills ready to go. I think that's naive. I think talking to some of the legislators that are in the room that have great experience and some of the other folks that are in and out of office, I know that's not realistic. My focus would be on fighting for the legislation that this district already needs, maybe repealing some things, fighting for those issues. I certainly wouldn't do any regulation and further regulations that limit and hurt the lake and the water environment. I certainly wouldn't be doing that. There have been some that have been brought up that I certainly will champion, but right now my things that I'll fight for are, I'm talking to a lot of farmers, and between foreign ownership of land and the meat producers with fake meat labeling and those things, there's a number of things that this district really wants this representative to fight for, and I'll definitely do that.
Thank you. Lisa Thomas, are there any bills you intend to file or co-sponsor next session? And what will be your legislative priorities?
Absolutely. Initiative petition reform is something that as a caucus and as Republicans, we have all been fighting for. Sadly, that did not happen this year. I will be supporting that legislation and certainly hope to get that through next year. As far as my own bills, certainly the bill to allow the transfer from Department of Natural Resources to the city of Osage Beach, the property underneath Lacey Fine Airport. That is something that is going to, again, spur economic development here. It's going to give the city an opportunity to expand that airport, build hangars, bring people in. I'm very proud to be working with our local fishing community and working on lake safety, boating safety, water safety, which again, if we have a safe community, that's going to bring in more individuals that will not only relocate here, but also businesses that want to be part of our community. I've got a church security bill. Again, it's basically taking the idea of a Good Samaritan law and putting that in volunteers who provide church security. They should not have to worry that by doing that job that they are going to be sued or lose their livelihood. I've got multiple other bills. They are all Republican bills. Thank you very much.
Sticking with the legislative theme here, what are your criteria when evaluating bills and determining what bills you support and those that you work against? Dr. Thomas.
First and foremost, you need to read the bills. Very important. You need to understand the implications, not just the plain language, but what are the implications. There's always unintended consequences. So again, you need to find out, is this something that's really needed? And if so, is this done well, or is it going to open up, as I think the common language would be, a can of worms, and we don't want to do that. It's difficult to co-sponsor things because early on in the process, it may be a very simple bill. Sadly, as I said, things get added on. It can completely change in nature. So you have to be very careful and constantly update. So I don't co-sponsor a whole lot of bills. But again, I know my own bills, and I will work with other legislators and advocate for bills that are appropriate, but you need to read them and definitely understand the implications.
Jeff Vernetti, what are your criteria when evaluating bills and determining what bills you support and those you would work against?
Yeah, 100%. It's what the district wants. That'll be one thing that I think I'll bring to this position that, you know, it is certainly going to be a new sort of feature, whether it be through regular town halls, through active social media campaigning, through regular weekly meetings. You know, even, I know the session is busy, but Fridays we could be back here and having regular meetings with anybody that's wanting to talk about what legislation they're interested in. It seems like a whole bunch gets crammed in at the very, very end of the session. Bills get combined, piled on. Again, I know initiative petition was a major thing that didn't get pushed through. And then things get crammed together and you don't have time to read the bill, or you don't see the implication. As I've been walking the district, meeting people, listening to things and educating myself. I think a lot of the citizens, and again, citizens, we work for you. I think listening to these folks is so vital, and doing it at the very, very last minute is almost impossible. Knowing their needs from the beginning and just being a yes or a no from the beginning, I think is critical.
Each candidate will now get a 2-minute closing statement, and we'll start with Jeff Vernetti.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that everyone throughout the entire evening has kept things positive. I apologize to my family, my business supporters, and community people that, again, unfortunately, this has been the bad part of running for the first time. I was hoping to run on issues. We're running more on, you know, a negative campaign. I look my record up, look up, CaseNet me. I don't have any issues against me, except for one that's been brought to the attention of a guy suing us in small claims court for $900. Again, I know my values. I'm Christian-based. I'm the only candidate running for state representative that was vetted by the Central Committee, so they know my values. The people that I've gained the support over these last 6+ months that I've announced know my values, and more than anything, my family does, and that's really where I'm going to lead with. I didn't really want to talk about those things. It's unfortunate, like, again, if this goes against me in this election, it's just unfortunate to see all these mailers with like dark money and outside interests. Like, one of these is funded by a PAC that's run by a Democrat. Another, you know, I know there's Trump's pictures on here, but another is funded by one that is very anti-Trump. Like, you're gonna get one mailer from me. It's gonna be paid for by Jeff Vernetti. It's gonna tell you what I'm about. I'm available. I've never changed my stance on anything I've said. You can look up my donors, their family, their friends, their business owners in this room, their homeschool families. I don't have any outside money. So I just want people to know who I am. Don't read a mailer with an ugly picture on me. You know, it's funny, it's incorrect, but that's how people try to win elections. I'm not gonna try to win that way. And that's my vow to this room. You'll get the same rep in me year after year that's not gonna win this way. So if you want more of the same, if you want outside money, if you want more rhino stuff, I mean, I'm a true Christian. Christians don't do this. So she's gonna say a bunch of negative stuff. She's been powwowing the whole time. And that's just not me, folks. So vote your conscience. You know where I'm at. I'll talk to anybody more about any of my issues. And I've loved this part of it, is talking to you.
Lisa Thomas, 2-minute closing statement.
And again, I appreciate the opportunity for that. I will have to say, although they are not negatives when they're the truth, I am not one who has ever taken bankruptcy and left over $800,000 unpaid to creditors. Here you go. Mr. Vernetti, here's the filing. It was for a sports recreation business. What's the business he's in now?
Incorrect.
As a matter, well, you filed the paperwork, Mr. Vernetti. I'm sorry, this is in court. So I did not create the paperwork, public information, and it's pretty appalling when you think about it. As a matter of fact, I spoke to the CVB the other day and asked if they had known about your bankruptcy, would they have supported you for the grant for Ballpark Parks National? And they said no.
No, that's so,
And we
it's so
do know
ridiculous.
as well
Lisa, that, look,
that you
this,
are,
we're just doing political stuff now. It's so
No.
ridiculous.
Finish.
Look around this. No, look around
It is
this
your
room.
time.
Look around this room for a
Finish your
minute,
time.
and tell me all the people in here that have had financial
Finish.
struggles.
It's her time.
We gotta
Okay.
go.
But again, you're allowing just more rhetoric to go. So
document proven facts is not
that has
rhetoric.
nothing to do with that. And you get most of your
Please.
information from people that, well,
Let's finish.
This is from a sunshine request. These are public documents,
Great.
government documents. So when he says that he's a successful businessman, again, I would challenge that.
hundreds of millions of dollars every year. So.
His mismanagement of your tax dollars to the tune of over $357,000.
I got lien
has
releases
caused-
that show that there's no issues,
has-
Lisa.
has
Again, you
caused-
get your information from
Let
the
her
wrong
finish.
people.
Let her finish. We'll finish.
Again, I'm sorry, but I have
It's just
not
how she's
interrupted
trying
him
to
at
make
all.
folks. It's fine.
So I find this rather appalling as well, as far as behavior. He's not letting me finish. So
Okay.
these documents show, and the CVB is well aware, they reported you to the Department of Economic Development, who, by the way, terminated that grant. And they have isolated you from any further money
Quiet.
handling in
Crowd, please.
that project. And in addition, the
That's
CVB
incorrect.
now is under a higher standard when they go for future grants
ridiculous.
because of your mismanagement. So again, if you can't manage money in St. Louis, you can't manage money here, then why would somebody send you to Jefferson City to mismanage our money there?
Because you're not listening to the district, that's why.
I'm fully engaged in the district. I am well aligned with district priorities. I will talk to anyone, anytime, anywhere. People run across the parking lot at Walmart and we talk. I give out my number. Again, I have not committed bankruptcy. I have not committed federal grant fraud.
Either have
And
I.
it's very, well, I beg to differ here on the
Show me
table.
where there's fraud, Lisa. I mean, you're just blatantly lying to the public. I mean,
30 seconds.
Again, let's go on issues, not on lies. You're
It's
lying
sad to say this man
to.
lies about lying. He says I don't live in the district.
You have
And
4
then he
houses
says,
elsewhere. You don't live full-time here.
I do. Ask my neighbors. Ask,
Quiet in the crowd, please. Give
that's
everyone their turn.
amazing.
We're almost there.
Just amazing, the venom in this room.
2 weeks, we'll find
Wow.
new leadership, folks.
So anyway, I am fighting for this district, fighting for Missouri, fighting, and I intend to win this race, to continue to fight for all of you. And I do not lie to my constituents. I do not lie about my opponent. By the way, as far as the smear campaign, it began with the first documents that he put out in January. So just look it up and read it. So again, the facts are the facts. It's not negative campaigning if it's the truth.
Time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That brings to an end the candidate forum for 2024 for the primary election held August the 6th. I'd like to take a few minutes and thank some of the people that have made this possible. That is Vicki Lloyd, Seal the Deal Team, Remax Lake of the Ozarks, Infinity Float Spa, Lake Movers, Bryant Auction, the Gattemeyer Group powered by eXp Realty, Capricorn Insurance, Alamo Arms, Atlantis Dive and Dock Salvage, KJF Architecture, Lindy Springs, Lake of the Ozarks, Lake West Excavation, Bridal Cave, Serdites, Jennings Insurance Group, LOZ Rentals, Lincoln Marine, Ozark Touchless Cover, Dave's Hideaway, At the Lake Heating and Cooling, Kenny Carroll Excavating, Ozark Stone Yard, Ireland Construction, Rough Water Dock, Captain Ron's. Also want to thank the Encore Grill and Sky Bar for their gracious hospitality and support in hosting this event. Also, thank you, the audience, for your participation in learning what is going on in our elections and our community. Also, all the candidates that participated in tonight as well. For Luke Hagedorn, our production staff, and everyone involved in making this forum a reality, good night.